Tonight, we are going to be watching car crashes as part of the safari. And we're going off to the far-flung land of China first, where 7 days ago we have China's craziest car crashes from Dashcam China, which, if things go awry, we are going to be getting ready to kill stream if things go wrong. Nope. Oh, I haven't verified my age on YouTube. Okay, so maybe China might have to wait. Maybe we can't do China tonight. Yeah, we got one. Perfect. It is time to go to China. Okay, you are live. Okay. Tell Derek that I'm live. Alright. We should be good. Should be getting Derek back soon. If he wants to. So let's begin. This is Dashcam China. And are you ready to see some horrific crashes? Because I sure should am. Sure, when discussing car crashes in China, crashes are inevitable. The best ones, though, are the new ones with the electric vehicles, because the new Geelys are so shoddy with so many software crashes that they have worse tech issues than my computer does. So this ought to be a good time. A van broke down on the fast lane of the highway, and the driver used a bottle instead of a warning triangle to alert others, ultimately causing a multi-vehicle collision. Welcome to China, everybody. Oh, shit. What the fuck? Look at this fucking idiot. Let's just go right in the bike lane. Uh-oh. Drove traffic jam on the highway. This video car illegally drove in the emergency lane and collision with another vehicle that was attempting to merge on the vehicle. What are we streaming today, Dr. Love? We are on our first ever. Dr. Love, we are on our first ever automotive safari. We are going to the far-flung land of China to watch their dash cams. This is Chinese car culture. It's so beautiful. Oh, fucking here we go. Holy shit. Dude's got a fucking cigar cutter for an ass at this point. That is nuts. He's downshifting, you can hear it. He's following the Mercedes up the hill. They're going for a tailgate run. I'm convinced Chinese people will treat their cars like bicycles or rickshaws. Well, you gotta remember too, China only started to fully develop their automotive industry and importing automotive and road infrastructure into the 90s. So, just like with India, if India was to have cars, well, I mean, India does have cars, but like if India was to give every fucking person a car, or have the ability to produce cars to such a degree they could have every person drive it, I mean, it'd be far fucking worse, but the Chinese are not far better. And if you know anything about dealing with Chinese vehicles, I've unfortunately had to work on Geely-made cars before, and they are a nightmare with software tech issues, and they are shoddily built. So be wary when dealing with that type of stuff. And we're unfortunately be seeing through Vancouver is going to be importing them in. And I say unfortunately, even though I don't like GM at all. because domestic imports have proven they've fucked us over for China. I'm convinced, but people who can't drive. Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, the Chinese are going to be coming through Vancouver with their cars. As much as I hate GM, and they are trying to make bug people can't drive. Yeah, that's true. But I'm saying though is that China is going to be having their cars coming in, and General Motors CEO and have announced, the CEO of General Motors has announced, well, this is a terrible thing. And I'm kind of like, well, first off, lower your fucking prices and actually make small cars that people want to buy again. Maybe this won't be a problem. But number two, it is truly a terrible thing because it's going to get really bad over here. In fact, in Russia, they're calling the Geely cars coffins because the software literally freezes up and will lock the doors and the windows on the driver because they will short circuit due to water, due to ice and snow falling into the crevices of the doors, and and when it melts, it short circuits the car. Oh, wait till you hear the Chinese Evo cars, the electric cars. My brother in Christ, when I used to browse the O board on 4chan, you would see videos, like compilations of just Chinese Geely, Chinese cars crashing and taking off on their own. I've seen some horrific crashes. Oh, there it goes. What the hell was that? Is that... What? Wait a minute. Oh shit. That's a Porsche. And he's going for the attack and kill. Yep. And he's gonna take off. Remember, they always take off. Nope. First, that's actually a first. This is the first time I've seen it not take off. Oh, that's not even a Porsche. What the hell is that? I'm trying to see what that is. Okay, so he's actually stopping to help the guy. That's a first typically for the Chinese. They don't typically stop. They fucking just drive off. Or they run him over multiple times. Oh my god! No fucking way! Plate change! Dashcam vehicle was driving against traffic when it collided with a motorcycle that suddenly emerged from a blind spot. Yeah, this is, this ain't gonna be good. Not really a motorcycle, a scooter. Oh, Chinese lady. So pretty. No, he is not helping me switching plates. I know, it took me a bit of time to see that. Now, where I'm on right now, this lady here. Yeah, I may have yellow fever, but I would never let if I was to get a wife from the Orient, I would never let her drive my car. I'm just putting that out there. He seems to be doing okay. Dashcam car was using autonomous driving mode, but the system failed to detect a vehicle. Oh, here we go. This is some of the good stuff. Yeah, Dr. Love, I forgot. They fucking just hit and run them, or they'll try to run them over multiple times to kill them. Autonomous mode, here we go. Here we go. Not the Honda. That was a terrible crash, though. I was using autonomous driving mode. It's kind of a bad spot to park on the road there. What the f- I was too busy focusing on the green scooter, I didn't see that shit. Oh! God damn. You okay, lady? Uh-oh. Oh, fuck. Multiple vehicles are involved in a highway collision with an unknown cause. Yeah, that's the thing you've ever seen about the Chinese car crashes, though. They'll have massive pile-ups on the highways. It's actually hilarious to a degree. If it wasn't so brutal half the time. What are they doing? Okay, hug it out with your wife, I guess, but I mean, she's good. The Uber guy, not so much. The accident was most likely caused by the dashcam car driver's failure to brake in time during distracted driving after prolonged hours at the wheel. Yeah. Don't let yourself get highway hypnosis, especially if you follow dotted lines. I've driven how many hours across, like, provincial lines and everything? Fuck, that is... You'll feel yourself go numb, especially if you're on low signal. I used to do for school. I actually remember blacking out at like 140 kilometers an hour, or that's about 80 to 90 miles per hour. I remember blacking out and coming back up, and I just like waking back up in the middle of a snowstorm. I'm like, what the fuck am I? If you are exhausted, you should not be driving. Good Lord. And it was not like I wanted to, I actually had to drive that distance. And I remember blacking out, and I just remember having to pull off into a shoulder and then catch some shut-eye. I know what that means. I mean, I do make stops when you feel exhausted and maybe buy something to eat and drink. I mean, H250, all I can say is there's only so much caffeine I can take before it completely null and voids and my system will just shut down on me. Like, I will actively just shut down physically. Although my mouth is moving, I'm awake. I actually have had to slap myself or smash my face off the steering wheel to keep myself running sometimes. It was that bad. It was that bad. As I used to work like 65 to 70 hour shifts, like 70 hour total shifts in a week, and go to school full time. Each drive is about 1 hour there, 1 hour back, and I would only be running on like 3 or 4 hours of sleep maximum. So with all the education, with all the work, and a lot of physical labor too, and some fitness in the mix, I was pretty much on shutdown mode. Not too, but my best system is have food on hand. Food actually makes me sleepy. The digestive tract, the energy that it takes to digest food will actually make me sleepy. Especially if it's fatty foods, because that does, and probably with high proteins, that does take a lot of digestion to get you going. And also, greasy fatty foods will make you tired. So that will put me to sleep. Yeah, otherwise shout. No, like I had no one to keep me awake. I even couldn't keep myself awake. I mean, I remember in class, I fell asleep, and I fell asleep standing up, and I went face first into a desk, and when I came to, my teacher was this Hungarian man, was like, Sirius, you alright? And I said, where am I? And he was like, class is over. What happened, man? I said, sir, I guess I'm not sleeping. And he's like, Sirius, you need to sleep. You drive here an hour, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I think I was like 17 at the time too. I'm fucking beat. I'm so tired. Whoa! You see how many bags of water? Or is it like gasoline? This is most likely caused by the rear vehicle driver's failure to brake in time during the stretch driving. Chinese R&B, I've never heard this. Damn bro never has minimum sleep max. Damn bro never has minimum sleep max before. Dr. Love. I was running off like nothing, man. And I also was eating like 1,000 calories a day maximum. I was in a pretty rough spot mentally. And like, no excuse. I mean, yeah, granted, you military bros go further with like no sleep, but like, I partially willingly did that to myself. Sometimes I couldn't even sleep in the night. I get like maybe 2 hours or 1 hour shut eye. So like I was pretty much going off like nothing. I was seeing things sometimes. I was absolutely seeing some wild shit. I will say though, and this is just me wanting to tangent on this. A thing I'm wanting to do with my car, because with my beloved Volvo C30, which I will bring, not my car in particular, but I'll bring the C30 up in stream because I love talking about these cars. And I know mechanical. I'm actually building an engine. I actually have 2 engine projects I'm building for the car, which is the same motor. And probably I will do a hand cam on stream where I take apart the valve head and measure the stems and clean them up and get them ready for operation again and put new seals in. But a thing I wanted to do for my current C30 is I want to install basically, and it's popular in the C30 community or in the P1 platform because guys will install phone or tablets into the waterfall dash, replacing the old head unit. And I want to figure out a way if, with our advent of AI, and I get it, the AI bubble's going to pop and the data centers are just guzzling resources for no reason. But hearing people who use, Siri or all this other shit for their AI programs, I thought to myself, I always wanted to personify my car as a poster girl for the channel. Make my car into a channel waifu. Get a modification of it. And I thought, why not make like a Cortana-esque avatar for her, and that could be my heads-up display in the car. So in the cockpit, basically, it will keep not engaging clusters, but it will sound off in probably an AI voice of like, hey, engine code P0420 catalyst efficiency, or like name off some sort of problem with the car that will keep it going. By the way, why do Chinese people have dash cams? I don't think it's mandatory, but I'm pretty sure it's just for documentation of credit and also to be a good citizen to report on. I remember it's a surveillance state. I think actually it might actually be mandatory because it's such a surveillance state. I'm not sure if the Chinese girl I was gonna date talked about it, but she drove motorcycles, so I don't think she had to deal with dash cams. The accident was triggered when the lead vehicle, having taken the wrong lane, attempted to make an illegal solid lane change, and the truck refused to yield to the right of way. What the fuck are you doing? This is nuts. He's gonna do it anyways. So the funny thing is, I actually have, despite me, despite what people think about transport truck drivers, I've actually had a very good relationship with, transport truck drivers in general on the road. Because I live in an area where there's a lot of truck drivers that will come up and down here, and no, they're not the Indian ones. They're the actual ones that have their full Z license and everything. The ones that I deal with, it's always it's custom in my area that if you're at a stop sign and a truck, a transport pulls up, you keep a 2-3 car distance at the stop sign so the driver can go first and he can swing the truck around, making it easier for him to hit the swing so he won't clip your vehicle. It's good for both of you and the driver. But I've seen a lot of Chinese or Indian just drivers fucking get clocked by trying to run red lights when these drivers come about. And it's I mean, trying to argue semantics is going to be fucking pointless with foreigners, but Jesus Christ, I was how stupid are you when you see that big of a tractor trailer swing, it's going to magically go past you? Do you think your that's going to save you? Also, your nice little, remember, all the companies are owned by Geely. I don't care what brand they are. They're all owned by Geely, except for the foreign automakers. Even then, some of them are owned by Geely. Yeah, you're a complete fucking moron to try and squeak in there. He's got a beat up hauler truck. Yeah, I'm back, Sirius. I'm back, Derek. He's got a beat up hauler truck. You're a fucking, your fancy little crossover here, SUV, ain't gonna save you. You're not the big man on campus this time around. The involved vehicle was tailgating the preceding car and failed to brake in time. Of course they did. Uh-oh. That was on tailgate. He had a distance. I wonder what could happen now. Merge over, and they're going to clip him. Oh, that's a Volvo. XC60. And of course, an old woman driving. If you don't know this also, too, you may not catch on to it, but the Chinese fucking love Volvo. Well, Geely owns Volvo now, since 2013, I believe. They bought it off Ford, essentially. And what happened is that, like Buick, for some reason, the Chinese seem to love Volvo and treat it as a very, very high-end luxury brand. And in fact, they've changed the market face of Volvo to being extremely overpriced, because the Chinese want to have their luxury goods, and they will nickel and dime the, national market. But the thing is, Volvo's remained autonomous to a degree that they're being able to still create plenty of original in-base Sweden cars with Swedish engineering and design, but a lot of the software for the new electric cars are from Geely. And they have notorious issues that have recalls you have to bring back to the dealership to work on it. How do I know this? I used to work at a Volvo dealership. Believe it or not. So, I mean, briefly as an apprentice, but like, I basically operating, there was a lot of software problems in these things, especially with the new ones that would come out. These XC60s too, there was a hell of a lot of problems regarding the new ones, but the electric ones especially have fucking nightmare software crashes. I will say though, the new EX30, I hate crossovers, I hate SUVs, but the new EX30 was a hoot to drive. The moment you put off safety, like the traction control mode, it disabled every single safety assist. So that thing would want to kick loose on you. And we're talking about an electric car with an all mid-engine rear-wheel drive with 600 brake horsepower and about 800 pound-feet of torque to the rear wheels. Off the hop, and it would just want to fucking fly on you. It was so much fun when they released those things. I had to test drive them. Do we even still have cars that don't use software computers? Well, okay, we've basically had computers in cars since the late 70s, early 80s. OBD1, onboard diagnostic 1, and electronic fuel injection was the initial. Well, okay, we had electronic fuel injection far longer than that, but OBD was and early ECU and OBD1 was the dawn of the electronic age in cars, which the thing is, I don't have a problem with OBD1 and early OBD2 or mid OBD2, because it depends on the software they're running on, that you can crack them and either tune them or make them run better, depending on how you want to go about it. It's just, when it came post 2010, what a lot of people don't get, who want to be car enthusiasts, for example, Midas doesn't want to be a car enthusiast, but she wants her Lincoln Town Car because she doesn't want electronics interference in the car, which I fully am on board with. I don't buy cars past the 08 recession because they are loaded with gizmos you don't need outside of some Kias and Hyundais. But in particular, though, Midas spoke how she wanted a town car because it doesn't have electronics. It still runs off old LCD interior. It doesn't have everything connected up to a single central hub for electronics. I mean, the stuff that doesn't crash in the middle of the road. You're talking about like brand new cars. It would have to be poverty spec cars that don't have that. As far as I'm aware of. Now, most ICE cars, if you're talking about like the infotainment system, if a part of the infotainment system crashes, the whole thing will crash. But it doesn't mean your car's inoperable. But a lot of electric vehicles, unfortunately, do have that problem where you will. If it crashes on you, you will brick in the middle of the road. We saw that with some Teslas. We saw that with a lot of Geelys. We saw that with the Volvos, Geely Volvos. We see this with some General Motors electric vehicles. My problem has always been that I feel like for the longest time, tech geeks and mechanics and engineers used to mesh well together. And then the tech geeks got their sway at the top of the DEI, and then we're talking about also corporate fuckery at the top of the ladder with the EPA regulations involved too, and they got their sway to be basically the overruling oligarch of the automotive design team alongside the board members. So we've lost the real touch of mechanics with everything, and we've lost them being able to coincide and work with the actual mechanics and engineers on making cars that are reliable and if not enjoyable. Power spec is fine. My current vehicle is a 2010 car with at least a Bluetooth feature and aux cable. So yeah, fuck. The C30 I own, because the C30 was considered a premium hatchback when it came out. The most modern feature it has is a Bluetooth adapter. It literally has Bluetooth hooked into it, built into it. That's the most modern thing it has. It doesn't have CarPlay. It doesn't have anything. It doesn't really have a microphone set up. I'd have to install a microphone on my own part for it if I wanted to talk on the phone and have a car phone, which I don't. Basically, it's still got an LCD screen, and the thing's from 2013. It is. The car, the C3 was designed in 2006, but mine was from 2013. It's just the facelift, but doesn't really have much in the way of amenities. I'd say your best bet is to buy cars that were designed in the 2000s and have 2000s technology, which is that's pretty much the best point of buying cars for the most modern car you can get, but also the one that and the most adaptable for modern technology. If you wanted to retrofit things in there that were customizable and fully open software or open source, but if you want to just have your own car, but if you just want to have an LCD basic bitch car, the 2000s are the best spec for it. 2000s typically economy cars like Japanese, Volvo, there's also Swedish, Japanese. Some Mini Coopers, well, you got to be ready to work on those Mini Coopers hard. Some American products too. Some Fords of that era that were from the UK Ford division. So depends on what you want. Ooh, what do we have here? I'm sorry, that is just such a... Oh, the perspective. Okay, you also remember too that the reason why they run people over in China is that, they'll go back to run over the people they struck, was that the litigation and to be sued in China is like a death sentence. Who had the right of way? In that case, the scooter definitely had the right of way. It was also a blind turn. But I'm saying is that case, they did morally the right thing to check on them, but they will be sued to oblivion, and the Chinese legal system is pretty fucked in that regard. Just like the American one if you get into a car crash, unfortunately. Unless, you get hit by a illegal, by a foreign invader. But in China, it's far more intense, so that's why you'll see people just run each other over, back and forth to make sure the person's dead so they can't be sued. Because if the person's dead, they can't sue you. The family can't sue you. The person themselves has to sue you. So if you make sure they're dead, well, you don't have to pay their hospital bills or anything else. Whee! Also, once again, the Chinese fucking love Buick. If you wonder why General Motors killed Pontiac, even though Pontiac in the West had far better sales and Buick could not sell in the Western market, Buick sold really well in China. So when the 2008 recession and the 2008 bailout for General Motors happened, despite Pontiac being profitable and having a great union with Toyota with the NUMMI plant in Sacramento, California, which is now the Tesla plant, the reason why they killed Pontiac was because General Motors wanted to take the American taxpayer dollars to save themselves from bankruptcy and then run off to foreign markets within China. And that's why Buick sold really well in China, because the Chinese want to have luxury, but they don't have the money for true luxury. So they will try their best to mimic true luxury, or supposed true luxury, or supposed name brands with other name brands, and try to hype them up to be as good as other brands. For example, the Chinese really love Bentley. They really, 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 really love Bentley. But Bentley wouldn't sell to Geely, because Bentley was owned by the Germans. They were owned by, I believe, Mercedes or Bavarian Motorwerken, or BMW. So what happened is that because they couldn't get their hands on Bentley, China bought, I don't think it was Rolls-Royce they bought Aston Martin off Ford during the fallout. They bought a bunch of the other marquees from Ford. But one of the most notorious ones they've done was they bought Lotus. Now, if you don't know Lotus, they also bought MG, but the main one they bought for luxury was Lotus. Because Lotus, if you don't know the philosophy of Lotus, it has always been a small boutique sports car manufacturer with Colin Chapman and his wife's philosophy being simplicity add lightness. So they would use economy car or economy sports car motors in very lightweight chassis and tune the shit out of it to a reliable degree and make some of the most beautiful sports cars that this world has ever seen and best handling sports cars the world has ever seen. Yeah, they bought Aston Martin. But the thing is, Lotus recently, Geely made Lotus go from using Toyota engines to making all-electric vehicles with Geely platforms. And they did what Lotus has never done, and they built cars that were over 2,500 pounds. Lotus always had cars that were below 2,500. The most newest ones, which had the largest motors Lotus has ever seen, which was the Camry V6s and the most recent Evoras, they're still fairly light. And they were able to do supercar level specs of power and speed. But what happened was that now Lotus has cars that can put out 1,000 horsepower on these electric motors and 2,000 horsepower, they do 1,000 horsepower. But they're building SUVs. They're not even building they're trying to build hypercars, trying to build SUVs. This is never what Lotus was. And while they are selling well in China enough, they've sold more cars underneath Geely than they've ever sold in their lifetime. It was never the point of Lotus, because the Chinese wanted to make Lotus into Bentley. And they couldn't get Bentley, so they bought Lotus, and they've basically tarnished and bastardized and raped the name of Lotus, which is another English marquee and another part of English culture that was raped over by foreign nationals. For the longest time, the only marquee from England that still survived was Mini, which even then in itself was owned by the Germans and was kind of a tampering with the original Mini concept. But the first generation did it right. It's just they kind of strayed very far away with their concepts nowadays. They're making them overpriced for anyone to buy, because it's like Minis are supposed to be economy cars. No one can afford Minis anymore, because they jack the price up to make them boutique cars. It's an unfortunate thing that every company wants to crawl up the luxury ladder, because especially in this philosophy, especially came from China. Uh-oh. Oh no. Whee! Oh no! Oh shit! I love how there's like a massive cutout on the guardrails at the point you would need it the most, at that corner. Oh no. The subsequent collision resulted in the driver's immediate fatality. Preliminary investigation determined the cause. Under poor nighttime visibility conditions, the vehicle struck protruding cargo from a freight truck, causing complete A-pillar failure on the dash cam and quick. Oh fuck! So they got Final Destination. I am legit bugging out in my end. Oh, for fuck's sake! Not again. I have it kicked down. They got Final Destination. The one with flashing lights is a safety vehicle. Ah! There they go. They okay? The most collision vehicle movement resulted from brakes pedal release due to loss of muscular tonus following driver fatality. That's the second death we've seen. Oh fuck. Holy shit. So we just watched 2 people die. Oh, fuck. Chinese car crash, everybody. Let's see what else we can find on the Chinese side that isn't that doesn't need age verification. Because I haven't done that yet. Don't intend to for a bit to save myself on doxing. Chinese car crash compilations. Let's just keep going. If we find another one, that'd be great. But China's greatest car crash and stupidest drivers. Perfect. This one's gonna work. Oh, this will be fun. So, to be fair, we didn't see a body. Well, that's a good thing, though, because I have seen, unfortunately, I've had to bear witness to actual car crashes from China where you see things, and it's not nice. Now, there was also a story, I want to talk about this, and I'm putting this in a very serious light here. The results leading up to it is completely the fault of the girl who did it. I have no qualms with it. She was a dumb broad, dumb, spoiled teenager that killed herself in doing this. But there was a girl in the States who was a party girl on a trust fund daddy who's a lawyer. Long story short, rich family, lawyer father. I forget what the mother did, but like very, very wealthy family. And trust fund girl was celebrating her 18th or 19th birthday, I believe. And she got into a cocaine-fueled argument with her father. And in the process, she stole her father's Carrera 911 Turbo. It was a red one. And at 100 miles per hour, she clocked headfirst into a concrete toll booth. And I was on the O board, I believe, when this happened. Or, sorry, I wasn't on the O board, but I did unfortunately see the results of this. And the crime scene photos were taken, and unfortunately were leaked online. This is the case of that one officer who got arrested for leaking these crime scene photos online, and basically people were sending it to the family as a sick joke. The only way I can describe it is human soup. Because no matter how well-built, how well-engineered a car is, the philosophy is we can design these impact zones, we can design these crush zones, we can design everything here to absorb as much impact. It's just when you go from 100 miles per hour to 0 in milliseconds, the question for the coroner is, are they going to be pulling your body out in a body bag, or are they going to be using a ladle to scoop you out? That's the only difference in car design and safety design nowadays. Because you can't save something like that. I think some edgelord on the O board posted that, and it was on a You Laugh You Lose regarding like just Scotty Kilmer jokes and other stuff like that, and some try hard posted that photo, and it was just kind of like, you just gotta sit there and you go, there's just some things in the world you just don't want to see, right? Yeah, she was a dumb bitch for doing what she did. Equally too, no one should die like that, nor should their family have to bear witness and be spammed with photos and have that photo printed out and sent to their address for years to come, as some sick fucks would do. As a troll. It wasn't it was just... Yeah, there's just some things you gotta remember, like, how many fatalities there are with vehicles every year. It's through poor maintenance, through poor skillmanship of the road, it's through impulse, it's low impulse control. There's a lot of things that go in factors. As I said before, as a guy who has street raced in his time on togeys and on mountain passes on valley roads, the amount of precautions we took for this type of thing was palpable. You cannot imagine the amount of precautions and scoping and scouting and then safety precautions we took to do these things. But it's never really us who ends up killing or getting killed. It's the ones that your average person who just one day decides to have an impulse to slam down their foot on the accelerator. And they're the ones that end up killing themselves. and also as a mechanic too, I take my job very seriously to a degree. You may see us as shoddy people trying to scam you out of money. I always take pride in my work. I understand finance can be hard, but also too, I have to call everything I see. And I get very stressed out in my job. Unfortunately, to a degree, that does annoy and anger people, my coworkers, because my failures, I feel, are on my part. Not just the shop, not just putting in quality for the shop, but my own part, because I have to make sure the lives of these people are going out there on the road are safe. It's in my hands, essentially. No matter how much insurance there is, it's going to be on my head, my conscience, if something goes wrong. I also take a special anger whenever I see people who neglect necessities of their vehicle. And I can laugh and say Baldini special whenever I see bald, slick tire, like basically drag slicks on a car, on a minivan. But that joke, or people who try to fill up the air pressure of their car to thinking the air pressure gauge is a percentile, and they try to fill up to 100% on a car that's supposed to only take 35 psi per tire. I can have jokes all I want, but the moment I see a booster seat in the back or a baby seat in the back, those jokes will go away immediately. There's a unbridled anger and worry because the driver has the most amount of impact and basically SRS restraints and airbags and built for them for safety. That kid's not going to survive if you go into an accident. And I get enraged when I see people with pop cans and alcohol bottles and THC bottles in their car, and there's that kid in the back, and it's like, you are fucking splurging your money on this shit, and you are not traveling your kid around in a safe car. I don't care how big it is, I don't care if it's as big of an SUV it is, you are fucking retarded, and your kid's gonna die because of you. And what I've heard and have had reports on crashes, and I have friends that work EMS, or I've known people who work EMS, in police, and first responders. And when it's a kid, you see that dead soul behind their eyes come out. They feel the pain more than ever. I'm sorry for going on a tangent here, but even as a mechanic, I can have all the fun games I want, I can repair all the things I want, I can have jokey stories about things, but at day's end, while you're spending money for me to fix your car, I want to see you live. I want to see you have a safe ride home. Not just in passing, not just cordiality. I want you to be okay. I want you to get people to take care of your cars better, especially when you're dealing with people around you. Back to Chinese car videos. A little bit of oversteer, never hurt anybody. Sorry, H250, I can get a little bit moody sometimes. Watch a wall. Okay, that was pretty good. Also, H250, you missed it last night. We actually had a North American webcam dashcam compilation we were watching. I think Mabel had left by that point, but I was watching by myself. And there was a girl, some quirk chungus girl, it sounded like. She's like, oh my goodness, wow, this is so weird. What a weird day. She was driving a 1998 red Honda Accord sedan. And I had to stop and replay the video like once to listen to what she was listening to. She was blasting Devil Trigger, and she got a T-boned by a security patrol car. So not a police car, but just a security patrol car. And she was listening to fucking Devil Trigger. Oh fuck! Dark. Yeah. Damn it! I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for making fun of the Mandarin. I should actually learn Mandarin sometime. Whee! Oh, he's racing. fuck? Oh shit. That's a Civic. So he was driving a Civic. Because I immediately knew that was an FN8 or FN Civic right there, based on the dash layout. And FN means chassis code. And he crashed into I can't even tell what it is now. Double kill, triple kill, Kilimanjaro. Whee. Oh, he lost control. Now, I am myself thinking about buying a motorcycle someday for myself. Just insurance is a little bit high for it, for a young man like me, but I'm thinking about buying a sport bike of some sort. And preferably, I like one I can rebuild an engine on, because I would like to do one for a hand cam. And I'd preferably like one that is Japanese, probably Kawasaki or Honda, and from the 80s preferably, or 80s or 90s. Doesn't need a high-end track bike, but I would like a little motorcycle for myself, a little sport bike. I say little though, but my height may beg to differ. I might need to go for a larger size motorbike, not because of my weight, but my sheer size, my sheer length and height might be a problem for me. Look! Oh, these tripod trucks. Oh, I love these little things. They're so the little tut-tuts. They're so stupid, but I love them. Little tuk-tuks. Man, you did my boy dirty. At least no one got hit. Look at that view. You get a bit closer to it. I'm sorry, but these fucking scooters. I love it when these fucking scooters come out of the middle of nowhere. They're like, they're as bad as cyclists in here in the West, but like, it's so fucking funny. I hope she's okay, though. Oh boy. That was a double one, jeez. Like I said, some of these guys would be driving their cars like they're bikes. Oh, yeah. Oh, they seem to be. Bye-bye. What a beautiful sight. That's an older CRV, isn't it? Whee! A little Honda Jazz there, too. Oh, I'm sorry, that is... he ate shit there. Right on the bumper. Okay. How do you figure that much? There he goes. Oh yeah, those box trucks, they Oh no. I have seen that. I actually talked to a couple guys who work on actual transport trucks like that. Actually much larger than those, and it's like, yeah, no, we've seen when the wheels come off, we know some retard fucking got that, and they are getting criminal charges if they find out who was the last mechanic on that one, because they fucked up hard. Oh! Fun fact, I was once riding my bike out of college and unfortunately crashed into the side of a car. I was fine since we never went on fast speed. Oh jeez, man. Like, you actually had a motorbike? Or was it an actual, like, or just normal cyclist bike? Well, I mean, I'm glad you're okay. I mean, jeez, it's a good thing you walked it off. I've known so many people who've actually wiped out hard on motorcycles and just got skin grafting. What type of road is this? The fuck type of road is this? Oh, regular bike. I'm sorry to hear, man. Holy shit. And the truck's about to go. Oh, you hear him singing and just fucking losing. Yeah, China's got some weird mountain pass roads like this. And there we go. What's gonna go on here? Oh, look at that. Jackknifed. Beautiful. Somehow jackknifed it. Probably, yeah, rear-end collision, jackknife, pulled over, hit. Yeah, that's a bad one. Holy shit! You know, maybe Dr. Love was right about them being like that. They're like a fucking hive mind. Holy shit. Look at this. That's gotta suck. And once again, using the breakdown lane as a passing lane, that's a dick move regardless. A little bit of flamenco. You know, that's the funny thing with all these dashcam videos. Like, I love how like there's so much like weird variety of what you'll hear people talking about. I remember, I think I was watching, I think it was Dallas Soup, aka Sniping Soup, from the Goons, and he was watching it with Ethan. They were watching Idiots and Cars Fail, and someone who was in the video had the Goons podcast playing over the car speakers, and you could hear them talking over the. So just like hearing his voice, and it's like, wait a minute, no way. I'm waiting for the day when I start hearing VTubers on like on these car crash videos. Okay. That's kind of, yeah. Not really just sucks, but I mean that's that. I kick in the dick. Bye bye. And they're gone. The hell was that? love the last minute. Here we go, here we go. I love the face just before it happens. And that kid's how I met your, and that kid's how I met your mother. I'll admit, Cecily, legit makes me scared of being on the road, and I tend to be a regular driver these days. My head's always on the swivel. I love driving. I'm an enthusiast driver as well. I just keep my head on the swivel. Oh! God damn! What? Whee! Where did dog come from? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, you should have just kept going. No way. The parking orb of doom. Not the Acura. See, that's good. Oh, hello, Amalgamite. Yeah, she's playing with Lord Rexworth. I gotta check that out sometime. But yeah, no. That was China in our car safari. Yeah, women moment. Now we're gonna move on.